The Minnesota Wild are an identity crisis of a team. They're the one franchise that fans of the other 31 don't remember when they're listing out every team in the NHL. But fans in the state of hockey are hoping that this new core, which is energized with a lot of exciting young players, will be the ones to put Minnesota not only on the map, but the road to the Stanley Cup. Unfortunately, I am not one of them. Minnesota Wild fans, here's why I hate your stupid team.
I never heard of half of these guys, and the ones I do know are way past their prime. Most of these guys never had a prime. This guy here is dead.
Cross him off then.
As I mentioned, the Wild are full of young, promising talent for the first time in it feels like forever. Headlined by Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. The dude is absolutely electric, putting up 40 goals in 67 games last year and emerging as one of the best young Russian forwards in the NHL. With Matt Zuccarello on his opposite wing, they form a lethal combination along with Ryan Hartman at center. It's a good blend between skill, grind, and finish. The second line is also quite young, with Matthew Boldy and Joel Eriksson Ek being two of the most in the Minnesota Wild system, being paired now with Marcus Johansson making his second appearance with the Wild. Having 4 guys in your top 6 return who potted 60 points last year is an incredible luxury for the Wild. Now the third line is a bit more grinder focused with Freddie Gaudreau and Marcus Foligno, he of the new 4-year contract, a solid defensive third line that can match up very well against the other team's strength. On the fourth line, you got the kid Marco Rossi along with Brandon Duhaime, with the Wild's biggest addition of the summer, veteran Pat Maroon, who will offer veteran leadership. The defensive core will absolutely miss Matt Dumba, but they have plenty of talent still to be found, including Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin, and Jacob Middleton. They'll also be counting on 21-year-old Brock Faber to be logging top 4 minutes, with Kalen Addison and John Merrill on the bottom pair. Spurgeon's really the only one you can say definitively is a top pairing defenseman, but all 6 of these guys, in my opinion, could log top 4 minutes if they needed to. In goal, you have the veteran Marc-Andre Fleury, who was last year's starter, but he may in fact be eclipsed by the young Filip Gustafsson. The 25-year-old Swedish netminder posted an incredible .931 save percentage last year with a 2.1 GAA in 39 games played. It's entirely possible that they're going to want to lessen the load on Marc-Andre Fleury and give the majority of the reps to Filip Gustafsson.
Anybody got an idea?
It's Dean Avison, who I swear to God feels like he's been the coach in Minnesota for the last 10 years, despite the fact that he has never made it out of the first round of the playoffs. Pictured here in his everyday Halloween costume as Creed from The Office, Avison will enter his 5th year as Wild head coach and has made the playoffs every single year to his credit. Like I said though, he's never made it out of the first round of the playoffs. Now approaching the end of a contract extension he signed back in 2021, it's entirely possible that his future in Minnesota could depend on how far he can get this team come April and May. He's unfortunately in that no man's land of guys like Todd McClellan before him. He is a good coach, but can he elevate a good team to become a great one? That's the question that's still unanswered.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the new guy.
Even though he's projected to play on the 4th line and just signed for 1 year, Pat Maroon figures to be the biggest acquisition of the offseason for the Wild. The Wild are clearly hoping that his experience on multiple Stanley Cup winning teams will transfer to the younger guys through osmosis or veteranosity. In the draft, the Wild added Charlie Stramel with their top pick, which was, in my opinion, a bit of a reach considering he was projected to go in the middle of the 2nd round. But the University of Wisconsin product is probably a year or 2 away from slotting into the middle 6 for the Wild.
You gay Irish fireman, you're okay, but you I do not like.
I just love watching Kirill Kaprizov with the puck. He has sort of a Datsukian quality to him, as well as some incredible hands and a great shot to boot. He's got attitude, he's got some swagger, and I really love that out of a hockey market that has been historically maybe a bit more conservative. I really hope that Minnesota is going to get more shine with a guy like Kaprizov leading the way as the face of their franchise. Other than losing Dumbo, this Wild team is pretty identical to the one that made the playoffs last year, and like I said, Dean Avison just does not miss the playoffs, so I think a trip to the postseason is in line for the Minnesota Wild again in 2023-24. Now, the big question is whether that will be as a wild card again, or whether they're going to win or finish second in the division. Unfortunately, I don't really see that happening. I think teams like Dallas and Colorado still have their number in that division, but I think they're going to be firmly in that fight for the 3rd seed in the Central Division. But for this team, the big question is not about the regular season, it's what happens in the playoffs.
Pass to the corner. It ends up right out in front. Shot, score! It's over!